Years back when I used to live in San Diego, we went down to a place called Seaport Village. Seaport Village is, well, it's exactly what it kind of sounds like because there's no village inside of San Diego. However, there is a very touristy area in San Diego that is called Seaport Village. And during the holiday season, they will have an arraignment of different people out there doing different things somewhere between the line of like a farmer's market and panhandling mixed in with circus events or something to that effect. And so me and some of my friends had went down there and after church on a Sunday, and I believe this is one of my first times in that area during the holiday season. And I wasn't used to having all the things that they had there. But there was this woman who had a psychic booth that was there. And I was drawn to her. Like I knew I needed to talk to her. And so even all those years later, still didn't really carry cash on me. And so I asked my friend, like, hey man, give me $5. And he goes, why? I was like, I'm gonna go talk to the psychic. But like, I didn't want to go empty handed. I go up to her, and I'm my normal joking self of where I walk up to her. She goes, what's your name? I said, you're supposed to know this. I thought you were a psychic. And she goes, oh, I'm not that kind. I was like, psychant. You're a psychant, kind of joking with her. And so I tell her, I'm like, oh, my name's Wesley. She goes, oh, Wesley. Okay, Wesley. And I hand her $5 or something to that. I don't remember if I handed her the money or not yet. But she, I let her do her thing. Her eyes are rolling in the back of her head. And, the hair on her troll dolls are standing up and whatnot. And as she's doing this gust of wind blows in between us. And some of the little god statues that she had are getting knocked over. And I was like, aha, the Lord is here. One that specifically fell over was a sun god. And what was interesting to me, especially during that moment, because it was just about 18 months prior or so, just as, I heard the Lord to move to San Diego, the Lord told me that he was going to break the power of the sun god in San Diego. Well, some things that I didn't know were that the Sun God Festival started in 1983, the year I was born, and it took place at the San Diego State College over by their library. Also, their library is in the shape of a tree because they call it the tree of knowledge. Talk like, very flesh appealing. So here I am with this psychic, and again, she's doing her thing, and the wind comes and it's blowing over, the little statues and specifically the sun god. And I knew right then and there the Lord is with me in this moment. Now, mind you, my friends are about 200 feet away watching from afar, afraid of this woman. I don't know why. They were under the mindset that They should be fearful of psychics or something. I don't know. I don't pretend I understand. And they think I'm kind of crazy for doing what I'm doing. And some of you might think I am too. But I could see that she was the daughter of God. Maybe misusing her gifting and maybe fabricating a little. So she does her reading. She gives me her words. Uh, very much the things that you would pick up on just by looking at me, because she mentioned like my weight and things of that nature. And it's like, uh, but yeah. And then so I'm sitting there talking to her. Now, while she's doing her thing, I'm doing my thing, and the Lord's speaking to me about her. And so after she's done, and she's like, we're just kind of chit chatting. I said, yeah, I do something kind of similar. She goes, really? I said, yeah. And I'm just speaking her language, and I was like, yeah, I've studied dream interpretation and healing and things of that nature. And she goes, oh, wow. I said, yeah. I said, can I share some things? And she goes, yeah. And I said, I saw all the colors around you. And she's like, oh, I love colors. I said, I know. I said, but these colors, they were muted. Like they didn't like kind of like they weren't their full brilliancy. I said, your gift has been struggling lately, hasn't it? She goes, it has. And I said, and there's something going on with your kidneys. And all this is coming as in the sense of like, I am seeing colors around her, not her aura per se, but I am seeing the spirit of God around her. But I'm seeing just her gift and the Lord's showing me in her language that she understands. And she goes, I thought my guru, took care of that for me. And I was like, oh. And she's like, I'm going through the change that women go through. And I was like, oh, okay. And she goes, I was like, man, it might be time to get a new guru. And she goes, well, he's also my boyfriend. I was like, oh, I ain't giving you relationship advice. I'm just telling you, your guru didn't do much. And I said, life's been kind of crazy lately for you, hasn't it? And she's like, it has. I said, you find yourself just laying in bed, kind of almost spiraling a little bit. And she goes, how do you know this? And I said, I told you I do something similar. And she goes, you really do. And as we're talking, and I said, when you're laying in bed and things are spiraling and you're just wanting peace, I said, peace is an entity, it's a person. I said, when you're next time you're just laying in bed, just ask for the Prince of Peace to reveal himself to you. And he'll show up, he'll reveal himself to you, and you'll see him. She's like, really? I said, yeah, absolutely. And I said, let's deal with this kidney thing. Now I know this is gonna bother some people because I'm not doing this the way that the church has taught. Because, well, the church teaches things sometimes for their good and not necessarily that are actually true. And oh well. I said, let's get rid of some of this energy that you have, and I'm gonna give you what I have. And so I just take her hand, not making a show about it or anything like that. Just take her hand. Didn't even need to. I just did it for a point of contact for her. And I just allow Holy Spirit to do his thing. And she's got tears running down her face, and she's like hugging me, and I'm trying to give her money, and she goes, "No, no, 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 you don't need to pay me." I said, "No, I should, you're this is your livelihood, this is how you live." And she's like, "No, you've done more for me than I've done for you." And I was like, and she sees my friends from afar. She goes, "Are your friends over there?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, and she starts yelling towards them. And she's like, your friend." She's pointing to me. "Your friend's an angel boy. He's he's a bleep bleep angel boy." Like across the entire park area that is known as Seaport Village, she's yelling this. And I'm kind of trying not to blush and trying not to laugh all at the same time. And my friends are kind of like, "What in the world's going on, Wes? Like, what did you do?" And see, he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. And unfortunately, we've been taught to fear. And even when we're overreacting, like, okay, even when we're being very zealous and loud and boisterous and kind of crazy, we're still operating in fear. We're just masking it. There was nothing to be afraid of with this woman. She was just hurting and needed someone to love on her. And that's all we have to do is just love somebody. Just because they don't look the same, act the same, do the same, it doesn't matter what it is. You can just fill in the blank, whether it's a psychic or you, I don't know. I very rarely have ever felt very confrontational with somebody in a situation where their religious or spiritual beliefs are different than mine. I can really only think of one time, and that person was trying to be strong in the deliverance of their convictions and so on. And even then, it's kind of like the old martial arts montage is like, avoid violence or avoid a fight as much as you possibly can. And that's what I did. I just, sidestepped a lot of that. Just nothing but landmines. So when you come across people, maybe they're psychic, maybe whatever. I mean, choose your person. We just need to love them. That's all. They don't. They don't need us to even preach at them. I showed her or told her how to invite the Prince of Peace into her life, and that's what she needed. She didn't need anything else. She just needed to know how to invite the Prince of Peace and let him do the rest. Hope you all have a great Friday.